How's it going, guys? And yes, for the first time in a while, we're here talking about a Chelsea victory 2-0 against Burnley. Burnley, one of the form teams in the league, despite what their position on the table says. This was not going to be an easy game going into it, but it actually ended up being fairly straightforward. I mean, first half, they maybe tried to get into our face a little bit, but once we got the opening goal, that pretty much killed all of the impetus that Burnley had in the game. Second half was a bit of a cruise. We probably should have gone for the kill, gotten a few more goals, but 2-0, considering the kind of form we've been in, the fact that we've just gotten the new manager in, I'm happy, I'll take it. Let's get into the player ratings. Edouard Mendy, 6 out of 10. I'm pretty much going to say the same thing here that I said in our last game. Mendy just had absolutely nothing to do here. The defence covered him very well. Burnley didn't offer a whole lot going forward. It's a good sign that Mendy had nothing to do. I mean, it's not going to get him a great score, but I'm sure he won't mind not getting a great score from me if it means that he can go the entire game without having to make a proper save. Showed off some fancy footwork here and there, but yeah, that's pretty much all we had to see from him in this one. Callum Hudson-Odoi, 8 out of 10, back on the right wing back position, and I wanted to give him a 9. I was tempted, but he only got an assist at the end of the day, despite how good his performance is, and I kind of want to keep my 9s, my 10s for, the performances that have the really good stats, the goals and the assists in galore to back them up. Didn't quite work out from there in this way, mainly because of maybe poor finishing when he put a good ball into the box. He also had a chance himself that got deflected onto the post, very unlucky there. But yeah, probably another man of the match performance here from Callum Hudson-Odoi, and I can't wait to see more from him in this right wing back position. Cesar Azpilicueta, 8 out of 10, pretty much the same as last week. The defenders, the three main centre backs, did their job as a unit. I would have just given them all a 7 out of 10 again, except of course Dave got that lovely goal. It's hard to tell if it took a deflection off Eric Peters. None of the replays were conclusive, but either way it was a great strike from him, got great power on it. Nick Pope had no chance. And yeah, it's kind of nice to see the captain back in the team, despite how much I love Reece James. Dave has always done well kind of playing in that right centre-back position. We've seen it before under Conte. And yeah, if he continues to excel, then keep it. Keep him playing in that position. Thiago Silva, 7 out of 10. Honestly, he wasn't pushed too much in this game. He made a couple of well-timed challenges, but didn't have to do anything spectacular. Kept his name out of the limelight because, well, that's kind of how these games go when you're a centre-back. We fairly controlled the game. And yeah, his passing was simple, but, reliable. And nothing really to shout about from Thiago Silva in this game, but as a centre-back, he did his job perfectly. Antonio Rudiger, 7 out of 10. And look, everyone knows that I really like Kurt Zouma. I think that as an out-and-out defender, he's probably our best. But Tuchel clearly wants a team that can play football and hold on to the ball. And without a doubt, out of the centre-backs we have, the three best at that are Thiago Silva, Dave and Rudiger. And Rudiger did it well again in this game. He was pretty decent at it against Wolves. Again in this one against Burnley, and it's probably a worrying sign for Zouma because he's not that great on the ball. Probably is his biggest weak point, probably is Rudiger's biggest strong point. And yeah, we'll just have to see how that team selection goes going forward. Marcos Alonso, 8 out of 10, and it's just kind of funny because only a few days ago I'm talking about how Tuchel didn't bring Alonso into the squad for his first game against Wolves, and that probably meant that he didn't maybe rate him that much either, and yet he starts him from the off in this one. And I mean, his performance was fine, considering he's probably very rusty. His defending wasn't really called into question that much. His attacking play was decent, but that goal was absolutely fantastic. It probably what bumped him up maybe even from a standard 6 all the way up to the 8, because yeah, wonderful goal. My issue with Alonso is that he'll never really look bad in the games against the Burnleys of the league. It's next time out against Tottenham that he'll be called into question, because it's always against the big teams that he gets caught out because he doesn't want to defend, and when he does have to defend, he usually doesn't do it very well. So it'll be very interesting to see if he also starts in this next game against Tottenham. Jorginho, 7 out of 10, playing as the deeper line midfielder as opposed to Kovacic, who was given more licence to roam. Jorginho's play was a lot more positive than I've seen from him in a long time. You know, normally it's always sideways or backwards from him. Not so much in this one. He really did try to have his head up, looking for that forward pass. There were a few occasions where he tried an audacious ball over the top or switching the play, and to be honest, a few of them came off really well, put us on the front foot. You know, split the lines of Burnley with his passing, and that's exactly what we want from Jorginho when he's in the team, and he did it really well in this game. Mateo Kovacic, 7 out of 10, same as Jorginho, much more positive in his play in this one was Kovacic. You know, he picked up the ball, head up all the time. He was looking to bring it forward, whether it was by a pass or a dribble. And every now and then you see Kovacic, he, just kind of puts his head down and he dribbles the ball, and he goes past like 2-3 players and he makes it look easy and it makes him look really quick, but he just doesn't do it very often. And in this game against Burnley, he did it 4 or 5 times and it paid off pretty much every time. So hopefully, he keeps up this kind of more positive attitude that he has in his game. Mason Mount, 8 out of 10. I'm really liking Mount in this further advanced position, although I think against Tottenham we might need to drop it back a bit just to, pack the numbers in the midfield. But with his freedom in this game, he covered so much grass. His passing was immaculate, and he really was just involved in pretty much every bit of good play that we had. There was one pass in particular in the second half. He picked up the ball in the centre circle and played a reverse pass about 40 yards on his weaker left foot to switch the play over to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Brilliant ball. And his shooting was a little bit off in this game. There was a couple of wild efforts from him, but he's still learning in that department. He said he wants to add goals to his game. It's not just going to happen like that. So hopefully he keeps at it, doesn't get disheartened about the fact that he skied a couple of them, might go and score a banger against Tottenham, who knows. But really, really solid performance from Mount in this one. Timo Werner, 6 out of 10. Tuchel seems to have Werner playing in this right behind the striker, but off to the left position. He doesn't need to come back as much as Mount does, but he's not, dumped out in the wing. He's not up top. He just kind of floats around in that general area. And his performance in this game was actually quite good. There was one instance in the first half, the ball kind of came to him. I think it was a Callum Hudson-Odoi cross. He had a bit of an air shot, which maybe shows his lack of confidence at the moment, but that was actually the exception in what was a decent performance from Werner in this game. His link-up play looked good. He actually did look like he had a bit more energy about him, towards those last few games under Lampard. He looked disinterested, definitely wasn't willing to track back. That wasn't so much the case in this one. He looked like he was up for it, and if he keeps playing like that, it's only a matter of time before the goal comes for him. Tammy Abraham, 3 out of 10. Unfortunately, not quite the best audition for Tammy in his first start under Tuchel. He got hooked off at half-time, which he didn't really get involved in the game in the first half, but I still kind of thought that getting him off at half-time was a bit harsh. He wasn't awful by any stretch, and it maybe shows him that Tuchel doesn't have a whole lot of faith in him. Could damage his confidence a bit because, he was one player that was playing all right all season long, and he got a hat-trick. I know it was against Luton, but it's still a hat-trick for him in Lampard's last game only about a week ago. So to go from that to having a manager that's already showed that he doesn't maybe have a whole lot of faith in him could damage him a bit. But who knows? He could get the start against Tottenham again and he could do much better. Only time will tell. But this one wasn't the best from Tammy. Anyway, lads, lovely to have Chelsea back on the winning track. I could talk about it all day long, but don't want to stretch the video out too much. So, if you've enjoyed, leave a like, comment below whether you agree, disagree with the ratings I've given, subscribe for more footy chats, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.